Maboyka, Maboyka in Taino, Warhab in Sabik, Warhab, Ahmed, Sahib, Salam, Shalom, all them good greetings. Bienvenido, my people. Hey, listen, I'm not gonna stay here too long. I just want to just give a little assessment on some of the YouTube channels. Excuse me, that I be on. I'm still I'm fighting this off, man. I'm fighting it off, man. One of my students, Alex Hansu, sent me this Himalaya chest bomb, bro. That thing just knocked everything out of me, man. Out, beautiful. Let me see if I should show you that. I'll take a picture of it next time and I'll show you it. I'm not coming on camera right now. I'm unshaven, I'm just relaxing at the house, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to come on. Very interesting last night. Got a couple of podcasts. Right now, my brother, my kin, K Solo is on live right now, and I usually join him on there because I want to reach out to my people. You know what I'm saying? I want to reach out to my people, my Boricua people, and also, Taino, my Boricua people. So we have some interesting conversations, bro. Last night it got a little bit of heated, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm gonna chime in on a little because it's so important. Again, like Abisu Campos said, you arm the youth with the truth. You arm them with the truth, apply sciences so that they don't become conquered and enslaved. You know what I'm saying? All over again. I'm not gonna speak so derogatory about the educational system, even though I feel that in some sectors of the standard public education have fallen short, have robbed a lot of genius out there of their genuine, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? So, but with all that, I mean, it's still an institution, we can go in and there is still knowledge in there. You have to know what other cultures, how they view you. For one, you have to know yourself and how you view yourself, and you got to know your cultural, your knowledge, your ancestral patterns and genetic blueprint. That's so important. At the same time, you got to know how other people look at you. We say in Sufi, you got an existence. You got three perspectives. You see yourself a certain way, right? And then people outside of you see you another way, another perspective. And then there is a perspective of natural nature of who you really are. In the Sufi order, we concentrate, we meditate, we concentrate, we amplify that who we really are by nature, But a lot of times we carry our own perspective of ourselves. And people see us. Sometimes, the way people see us is not the way we really are. You know what I'm saying? They have their own perspective, their own biasness, they have their own they judge you a certain way or whatever. So we got to be careful with that. You know what I'm saying? Knowing all three of those perspectives, knowing that, you know what I'm saying, then you get to balance things out and you get to see who you really are. Sometimes, you could be resonating, giving signals of things that you're not even thinking because it's caught up in the subconscious mind. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that is locked into traumatic experiences as a child, and all of that is locked in. And sometimes it seeps out, and we do things. We act certain ways, and then we wonder, why did I act like that? Because subconsciously you're carrying those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? But that's psychology, that's psychiatry, and it's very important that we again study that. Those applied sciences. If you really want to get to know yourself, you know what I'm saying? I don't know everything about myself, but I tell you this, I am experimenting with knowledge of self, and I am experiencing a lot. 60 years on this planet, you get to experience a lot, and there's so much more to experience. And also exposure, explanation, you know what I'm saying, are very important. I call it the EXP. I don't have my pen with me, but I was given a pen, EXP, which stands for experience, stands for experimentation, stands for exploration, it stands for expert. You know what I'm saying? You know, those are rites of passages and stuff like that, you know. So once in a while you see me wearing that pin, you know. It's one of the pins that I was privy to, you know what I'm saying, as being again a spiritual master. That means a person that has the time to master the art of inspiring people. You can, and I inspire people through the use of the drums, music, drums, poetry, and also knowledge. You know what I'm saying? The nature is very great, because once you scratch the surface of natural nature, and you scratch the surface of the nature, it puts your mind in order. Then you're able to see things from a natural nature perspective, and that's very, very important. It's what we call Wusabat. It's what they call the Taino, you know, calls that, you know. And I want to go over all that. So in a lot of the discussions, you know what I'm saying, amongst our kin folks, our people, you know, they you know, I mentioned Moorish and more. But again, we have to, in order to really have a discussion with somebody, in order to communicate, you have to establish a reality. You have to first have affinity, you know, the likeness to, the willingness to establish a reality. And the way you do that is by defining explanations and definitions. We have to define it, and we have to look into linguistics, you know, that we call etymology of the word, the linguistics of the words, you know, the phonology of the words, and see it. And you have to figure it out, you know. Like for instance, more. People say, where did the more come from? It comes from moreno. More is a Latin word. But where else do we find the word more? Amor, amor, amore, amor, right? Amor. Amor is love, caring. You know what I'm saying? So you were more, they, you know, there were people that called themselves because they care for each other. They had a culture, you know, they care, and they were, I mean, amor, that's amor. Moreno is a word that was used in Latin for a term of endearment. Moreno, a term of endearment, you know. And if you go to a lot of the islands, and even in Puerto Rico, Luis Texidor, and some of the music, you see the moreno soy, porque nací en la rumba, and on and on and on. You know, it's this caring, this love, amor. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that comes from. You know, it's the, you know, in Iberian Peninsula, which is known today as Spain and Portugal. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the later on, a lot of the progenitors, the children, you know, had this found love for their ancestors who were of African descent, Berbers. And that's a derogatory term, Berber, barbarian. It's Amazigh people of North Africa. They were actually Nigerian and Malian people that traveled. Fulani, Hausa, I'm sorry, the Hausa people. You know, tribes that came through the Sahara, settled in North Africa, and went into what they call Andalusia. And the reason why they call it Andalus, because that's comes the root of Andalus. Anda means to walk, to travel. That is a Mande word. That's a Mande African word. Ande. Ande means to travel. So when they traveled and they went into the Gibraltar, you know, they traveled and they went into this landmass, this peninsula, and they call it Andalusia because they were traveling. They were travelers. Andalus, right? Andalus. And then later on, it was changed to Iberian Peninsula, and then of course you got Spain and Portugal, España and Portugal. It depends of what civilization, what you know, the Roman Empire. It depends on what empire, and they started to document the land and name it according to how they wanted to name it and created maps. That's topography, right? They started to name sections according to their language, you know what I'm saying? But from this perspective of, you know, when you go back time sequence, you see, a lot of times, you know, you have conversation people and they're out of time sequence. They're not following the migrations. There's omitted data, what they call omitted data, missed information. So they're not getting the whole scope of things. But you have to, again, put those pieces together. And when you go into archives and you start looking at the migrations and you start looking at the time signatures, you get to see the people that traveled, right, out through North Africa, and that traveled, they came from the Green Sahara and they traveled into what they call Andalus. They named it Andalus because it means travel, to travel over there, Andalusia, you know what I'm saying? And so you find that the language that they spoke, you have the Punic Moorish. The Moorish is not a language. Again, remember, it comes from, it's an identity, or it's a term of endearment. Amor, you know, a term of endearment. Moro, mugur, you know what I'm saying? A term of endearment. And so, but the languages, with many different languages, depending on you know, the migration. So you have the Phoenicians, Moors, Phoenicians, Punic. You have the Latin. You know, when they traveled, they were creating languages. They were teaching other tribes, camps of people, of how to create glyphs and how, you know what I'm saying? And that's how language develops. You know what I'm saying? So you find in a lot of this Hispanic, you find a lot of Arabic words like pantalon, camis, alabaza, you know what I'm saying? You find a lot, and again, amor, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, that's following the sequence of linguistics, you know what I'm saying? So you have the Moorish Empire. There was a Moorish Empire named Moorish Empire, but actually the Moorish Empire was the Mali Empire, Ghana Empire, Songhai Empire, the Congo Empire, many different empires. But again, the Moorish, because they became Arabized in Islam, they started to name it according to their, you know what I'm saying, their name and their interpretation, you know what I'm saying? And so that's how you have to follow how language gets developed. You know what I'm saying? That's linguistics, you know, and that's and they do that in archaeology, in anthropology. You have to put the pieces together. But that's truth. Remember, the pieces fit perfectly together. You can take different industry, different sciences, and it adds up. It adds up. The datum adds up, and you can follow that sequence, you know, and then you find the omitted sequence, the omitted data, you find the time sequence, and you put everything in place. It takes a lot of work. That's research. There are individuals that do that. You know what I'm saying? That's something that should be practiced. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling you that no more to anybody. I'm just learning myself also. But this is the thing, is that we all have to learn. I like to share my way of reasoning, you know what I'm saying, putting these pieces, and then it's like a puzzle. You know, we could put a puzzle, all the pieces on the board, and we can do this puzzle together. We can work on the puzzle together. You know, we can add those pieces together. It says, oh, listen, hey, this goes here, this goes there, this doesn't add up, it's here and here. And that way we develop this affinity, right? A reality. And then communication becomes very beneficial. You can communicate, community, common unity. We get to unify on a common thread, you know what I'm saying? And then when we establish those conditions, which is nature. Nature is a condition. Remember, nature is a condition. It's like if I take a plastic bag and I put a bread inside in the bag, and I sprinkle some water in it, and then I close the back. I give it a certain conditions to allow what? Mold, organism to grow within that bag. Mold, living organism to grow within that bag, because I established a condition to allow this to happen. So that's what nature is. It's a condition that was postulated, created by the suns, the solar systems, the suns, the soil, you know what I'm saying, the moisture, all of this condition, right? And so when people move to certain areas where these conditions flourish, and you, let's say you have a garden of beautiful flowers, they start having reverence for those flowers, and next thing you know, everything they do, the colors that they put on their bodies, their even their linguistics, their words they form, everything becomes that condition. Okay, that becomes that condition, and so that's the common thread. That's the common thread. Another thing I wanted to say about so you have amor, amore, amor, moreno, mores, right? That's a term of endearment, you know what I'm saying? And then it's just like taino. When you look at the word taino, no is plural. Whenever you have like atiao no, my atia ituno, my sisters, atiao no, my brothers is plural. No, right? And you have tai. Tai means good, good. Like tai moi tao, it means good morning in Taino. Tai means good. So when you have the goods, Taino is a community with what good, what beneficial good are you bringing into the community? We're here, we're good people here. You know, we're farmers, we're agriculturists, we're fishers, you know what I'm saying? Hunter-gatherer, we're fishers. You know, we live in matriotic pueblo, you know, a village, you know what I'm saying? We do good things, we look after each other. That's good, that's taino, you know, so that comes from. Same thing with more. What more, mi amor, more, my caring, I care for you like you care for me. You know what I'm saying? That's amor, amore, those amor, that's moreno, you know what I'm saying? Those terms coming out of the Latin linguistics. So you can trace a lot of this back, you know what I'm saying? Another thing is, I wanted to also tell the brother at the conversation, he said, no, we're indigenous, and we're indigenous. When you say indigenous, that is a very derogatory term. If you look up the word indigenous, I understand where people are coming from when they say they're indigenous, because of the English language and what has been accepted. You know, like for instance, in the hood, dope became something of good. You know, oh, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? It became something like good, but we know that dope, originally the word dope doesn't mean, you know, it means drugs. You know, it's a drug. You know, it doesn't mean that good. You know what I'm saying? For the human, you know, for the body, depending on what perspective you're from, right? So things changes. So I understand where indigenous comes from, and yes, when you say we are native, look at the word native. Native, nature, native, natural. Yes, we're native people. The conditions, but yes, we were taken out of certain conditions and put in other conditions. You know what I'm saying? So when you say the natives of a land, Native American or not American, you know, but that term later on coined, they didn't call themselves Native Americans. They call themselves, you know, in English, we the people. You know, what is it? Anna. I forgot the name. Man, I forgot the name of it. But it means we the people, good people. We the people. That's how they Aracois. It means we the people. That's how they, you know, Taino, good people. We the good people. You know what I'm saying? That's how we refer to ourselves. We didn't call ourselves indigenous. We didn't call ourselves Native American. Any of that. You know what I'm saying? Then later on again, yeah, you have Cherokee, Yamasee, Chickasaw, you know what I'm saying? All these other offshoots of what came from Mesoamerica. But that's another conversation. That's another class where we talk about Mesoamericans mixing, you know, and the amalgamation with the Africans already that have been traveling for, man, thousands and thousands and thousands of years. thousands of years, there was a migration going back and forth with the continents, were more closer together, because of the plate tectonic wasn't, spread out as much, so the continents were more closer together. So they were able to travel more, hunter-gatherers, travelers, you know what I'm saying? So we'll discuss that a little later and see how all of that comes into play, and why do we have so many different phenotypes, and where did that come from? You learn this in the nature, you know what I'm saying? But that's another conversation that's going real deep. So our culture, remember the word culture, it's a combination of a prefix and a suffix. Cult mean cultivating. Occult, the occult, A-C-C-U-L-T, occult is the occupation of cultivating. That's what the occult teaches. That's what it is, an occupation of cultivating. Cultivating what? Cultivating some type of condition, magic or condition. That's the occult, some type of condition that you want to occupy, right? And then the suffix is the church, is from nature. So culture is the cultivating of nature. And to take it further, the cultivating of a condition. When you cultivate a certain type of condition, there's certain landmass that grows certain type of foods. So the people that live there eat a certain way. In the Caribbean, you got the juca, the mango. They eat differently than you in Africa. You have certain, the sorghum, you have the teff, you have so many different grains. It depends on what area you at. Either you're in Ethiopia, you're in Congo. So the conditions there are conducive to grow certain type of crops. So when you cultivate those crops and you cultivate those plants and you cultivate that condition, that nature, that lifestyle, you cultivate that. That's how you develop your culture. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm saying all of this is, again, this is definitions and explanations. Exploring these definitions. You have to define, because we carry out, as human, as people, we carry our own definitions a lot of time. Our mind is like a book. We carry our own definitions, and then we look at things, because a lot of us experience different things, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of us deal with experimentation. But every time you experiment, right, or you experience something, when those conditions are the same, you should always get that same result. Always. If I'm put in the same environment that you're at, the same environment, we're experiencing the same thing, and we're doing the same type of experiment, we are going to think, we are going to, again, extract the same mindset. You see that in the hood, the same mindset. Why? Because we're in the same condition. We're experiencing the same thing. We're experimenting the same way. You know what I'm saying? So those conditions, when they're the same, the outcome, the results are going to be always the same. If it's not the same, there's something was interrupted in there. And that we'll talk about that later. The spirit beings, sometimes they can interrupt the conditions, their programmings, and but that's another conversation. That's a deep conversation. So that's all I wanted to say. Also, I made a statement last night about I told the brother he was into the whole Christian school of thought, and I told him that King David was crucified. Now this is the thing: he didn't die of crucifixion. He did not die of crucifixion, but he was crucified and then taken down because they felt sorry for him. Same thing with Nimrod. There's a story, there's a story, a narrative. As a matter of fact, there's a good movie that Nimrod, because he was teaching the law, or was it Nimrod, or was it who was it? Man, I can't think of it, but it's equivalent to Moses. He was teaching the law to the people in the Caucasus Mountain, teaching the laws. But when they wanted to test him, and when he broke one of those laws, right? Because he told them if you break the laws, you're getting punished. So he broke a law, and they punished him in return, and they crucified him. Yeah, that's a story. You see, these are omitted data. These are ancient stories. And then yes, in the Bible, there is a story. You got to read the story of David. And David have did a lot of things that was against his people. It was against the ways of the people. He did a lot. He was a king that went a lot. And they, well, they didn't work. They hung that, they tried to hang that man. You know what I'm saying? They tried to hang that man. And then they brought him down. And he didn't die of crucifixion. So you see, it's like this. If I tell you, George Washington told a lie, right? Is that a true statement? And then you say, no, George Washington didn't tell a lie. He told many lies. You know what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying? So they're missing data. You know what I'm saying? Missing data. So when you go into, biblical narrative, you got to understand that in the Bible, there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of missing data. A lot of those missing data are found in other booklets and other manuscripts and scrolls that are kept secret, because it's not, they took that out because it's not profitable for the powers that be that is creating this religion, to Josephus and to the Roman. It wasn't profitable to teach these things. It was later on where people, because of the Fourth Industrial Revolution and people going out there and doing research and finding these manuscripts like the Nagas, what they call that, the Essenes, the Essenes, the scrolls, those scrolls that they found in Qumran, those sacred, that sprouted the whole Gnostic thoughts and stuff in Christianity and stuff like that. So there's so, I'm telling you, when you read the Bible within those King James Bible, that's just a small fraction of a manuscript that exists. That's a scripture created by Josephus. That's a script. But they took what they wanted to take from here and there. I always give the example of the Godfather. And look at the word Godfather. Always get that example. Vito Corleone wasn't a real character. It was a combination of Angelo Bruno, Giancana, Vito Genovese, all these different characters to build your Vito Corleone character. That's script writing. And that's what Josephus did for the Romans. He was an historian. He was a writer. The Pisu family were actors. In Rome, they had theaters. They were actors, nativity scene, all of that. Again, you missing data. And listen, and shout out to my brother Vic. He did mention to me. He said, "Man, why is it people always want to challenge silos and this and that, disagree, whatever?" I welcome that. You know why? Because you have to test the spirit. You have to test the spirit to see if what's being said makes sense. So a lot of times, yeah, it's true when people say I might say some things that are out of the box, that are not quite standard out here, because I read a lot of information out there, and it's true. You can't believe everything you read, but like I said, if you love puzzles and you know how to put thoughts together, you know how to put concepts and ideas, and you learn how to put all of this together, and you keep in mind, you give it the what they call the touchstone of positivity. You make sure that what you are learning is beneficial for you, your family, and all humanity. And like I said, Abisu Campus said it the best, man. When we arm ourselves with the truth, and we go deep within research, and we arm ourselves with the truth, we don't become conquered and enslaved. It's very difficult to conquer and enslave a person that knows themselves, they know the truth. Or not that they know, they know the truth. They investigate. In order for you to know something, you got to investigate. You got, you can believe your cart will take you to your destination, but not know there's a wheel loose. You got to get out, you got to get down. You got to investigate those wheels. You got to investigate your cart. So you're sure that this cart is going to take you to your destination. Fine, right? You can't just go on belief. You see, that's the switcheroo. Belief has its place. I'm not discrediting belief at all, or trust. It has its place, but you cannot you can't throw the baby out the baby out with the bathwater. You know, you got to believe, but you have to knowing also investigation. It starts with believing, right? Because that's the unseen. You're not sure, right? But then you got to investigate. It's got to become visual. It's got to become solidified investigation so that you can know for sure. And so you arm yourself with knowledge. That's knowledge. Knowledge, knowing the ledge, you stack it up. You stack it up. And when you stack up this knowledge, then you get to stand over it and figure it out and say, this is why. Then when you use it, you apply that knowledge. That's wisdom. Because now you know what's right and wrong in the history of things. That's what wisdom is. You know what I'm saying? Wisdom of the street is knowing what's right and wrong when you come to the hood. Wisdom of the hood is I know what's right and wrong in the hood. I know where not to go to. I know what to say. You go to jail, right? You're in Rikers Island. You know what to say, how to act. That's having some wisdom. A fool doesn't know and is going to bluntly put himself in a bad situation. They're going to be washing people's underwears. They're going to put themselves in a bad situation. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so it's a lot. I enjoy going on the internet sometimes. It's like hanging out. I'm a very social person, so I like to have conversations. But again, I don't want to come off like I think I know it all. You know, there is the all in all. It's natural nature. And when you know that, then you know what works for you. You know what works for your family. You know what works for your people. And again, I always say, in knowing definitions, explanations and definitions, and knowing the origin. For you to, when you define something, you explain it thoroughly, then you know the origin of that thing. And if you know the origin of it, you know the laws, the conditions of the laws and that conditions that thing, person, place, or thing. And then you know the nature of that person, place, and thing. So you got to know the law. You got to know the definitions and explanations. And that comes through investigation. Very, very important. The investigative mind. You know what I'm saying? And you know, there are people out here that they're like, the hell with all that. I just want to live and that's it, die. Well, okay, that's fine. But if that's what you're going to do, then don't get into certain conversations. You know what I'm saying? And duck when the truth is thrown at you. And then you're gonna be a fool. All the fools duck when and that's one of the sayings of Panabellum. All fools duck when the truth is thrown at them. That's the reason why I don't debate, because I'm just gonna give you facts, boom, 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 and I'm gonna show you the books. Like I'm telling the brother that there are books, there are manuscripts, there's books, there's letters that the conquistadores wrote. There are letters that Christopher, Pinzon, Vasco da Gama, Pinzon, Marco Polo. A lot of they wrote letters back. They documented things, they did reports, and they documented a lot. And these letters are found and were put in books. And a lot of these letters and a lot of these documents are found in archives. You got Vatican City, the library, have a lot of these archives. Also, a lot of the institution, university have books that are peer-reviewed books and books that are on the archives that are published back in the 1920s. In Harvard University, Yale University, Oxford University, New York University. And not to say that that's all, that gives, that's appealing to authority, not to say that, because there are books written by scholars who've never been to those institutions that have a wealth of information because they're investigators. They've done the work. They went into the libraries of Congress, they went into the archives. They come across certain things. And then you have also those that are genetically linked, what they call genetic explosions, and we see these uploads from the genetics that this information carries on in their DNA, carries on the DNA. And all I want to do with my brothers, my sisters and brothers, is share with you certain information that I was privy to and share some of the information. But sometimes, I gotta give it to Her Excellency Mary Ocran York, one of the nobles, Her Excellency, and when she was alive, she always said it. You find them dumb, leave them dumb. Don't give them too much knowledge. And I like a lot of my elders that tell me that don't give too much of that knowledge out because they're gonna trample upon on it. That's it's even in the scriptures. You don't cast pearls to swines, and they're gonna trample all over that. So you know what I'm saying. But I have a heart that I want to share, and I put it out there, and I'm like, don't believe me, check it out, and maybe that can nudge people to research and look more and more and more, so they can have those conversations with their young ones, their children. When they go to school, the children know that I'm not only going to get information and knowledge from the schools, from those teachers, from the traditional public education, I'm going to get it in my household. My mother and my father is going to give me certain information. And then when I take that information and I see it, and now I can engage in my classroom in a participation and open up the lines of communication. You know what I'm saying? Very important. Anyway, I just want to say that also in the YouTube world, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Sarnetta and them, doing the things they do with the debates and stuff. It's getting a little redundant constantly about religion. So at this day of 2022, you know what I'm saying, they're still arguing. But I understand where all of that is coming from. You know what I'm saying? And when you debate, there's a skill sets. Those are skill sets. The debates I like to be set up. It's like we're gonna agree on a book that's written, and you either gonna take the affirmative, or you're gonna take the contradicting premise. You know what I'm saying? That's how you do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, here's the book. We both read the book. We both know what is said by this particular scholar. What is do you affirm that, or do you reaffirm that, or do you challenge that? That's how debates are. That's how debates. These debates that they're having about religion and stuff like that, it's useless to me. I mean, you can learn certain things because there's some things that are being exposed and put out there. But at the end of the day, it's amplifying. It's amplifying it, and it's just I don't know. It's just becoming a little redundant. You know what I'm saying? When they start debating about things like that. So debate is just it's a game. It's a sport. It's like playing basketball. It's like playing football. It's a sport. One team against another team, and you go at it, and it's chess. It's like a chess game. You know what I'm saying? So you could take the affirmative, or you could take the what they call the opposite of affirmative, the contradicting, the opposing premises and stuff like that. That's real debates. You know what I'm saying? That's how debates are done. But a lot of times these debates become shouting matches. These debates become so redundant again, same old thing, discussing about the Bible. And whether the Bible is good for us, it all depends how you use it. That tool, the Bible, that script, it depends how you use it. I mean, you can go into a classroom and a teacher could teach you a lesson in life by showing you a movie. Same thing. I show you a movie, right? The movie has a catalyst. It has a beginning, a catalyst. It has a resolution. It has a theme. It has an inner meaning to the movie. And I can teach you some type of morals or ethic by using movies. Same thing with the Bible. It's a movie script. It's a script. And you know what I'm saying? With morals and ethics in there. But, we got so caught up in the movies and the entertainment. We get so much caught up in that. And that's okay, because I enjoy a great movie from here and then. I could sit down and read the Bible and look at it as a movie, and I enjoy that also, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's not really culture. If it's a culture, it's a condition that was interjected. It's again, spiritual being. It's a programmer. It was interjected into our consciousness. And now you have to investigate as to why was it interjected into our consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, with all that being said, I think I said what I had to say. And, all the blessings, and talk to you later, man. Peace.